Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Seen Beyond It Through with Monty. Right before you is a very handsome, dark-skinned man. He's dark-skinned. He's dark-skinned. Dark-skinned. And he's dark-skinned. He's dark-skinned. And this particular video stems from one of my previous videos, Light Skin Privilege Does Not Exist Among Men. This particular video got about 48 comments, which was a lot, and they were all over the place. Some people were in denial, some people were angry, others have never heard of light-skinned men not having a privilege because they associate light skin privilege with white skin privilege, which is entirely two different things. Now, I steadfastly believe, and I will prove to you, and I will show you that out of the black community, light skin for men has absolutely no privilege. Let's get into acting. Here's Denzel. And you know where I'm going with this. You know what the common denominator is going to be. Top black actors. Here's Morgan Freeman. Now that right there is a flash, which is making him lighter. Here's the late, great Chadwick Boseman. May you rest in peace, and thank you for all that you've done. Jamie Foxx, Don Cheadle, Samuel L. Jackson, Michael B. Jordan. Michael B. Jordan is more like, not light-skinned, not dark-skinned, but in the middle. But he's not light-skinned. Marshall... Is it Ali? Forrest Whitaker? A genius. Will Smith? Kind of almost light, but not quite. He's not light-skinned. Eddie Murphy? Danny Glover? There is Louis Gossett Jr., Academy Award winner. Here's Mr. Tyson Beckford. He's known as actually the greatest male model of all time, and he certainly isn't light-skinned. Now here's something, the best black fashion models of all time. Tyson's obviously going to be number one. But let's explore this right here in depth a bit more. Okay, so here we go. The best black male fashion models of all time. Obviously, it's going to be Tyson Beckford. He's the greatest male model of all time. Had an exclusive deal and contract with Ralph Lauren for over, like, I believe it, he was a top model for like at least a 15-year period. The top model. Now here's a model, David Abogdad. Great complexion. Who knew that Richard Roundtree was once a successful model? But he's listed as one of the greatest top black male models. Fernando Cabral. And look at their complexion, people. Alvin Clayton. Dark-skinned model. Urs Altos. I bungled that name up. Brown skin, but not light skinned. Vladimir McCary looks to be like Will Smith's complexion. I wouldn't call that necessarily light skin. Sterling Jacobs. Now this is a coloration. They use a lot of red coloring. Look like contact lenses. I'm not sure what they were going for, but my point is he's not light-skinned. Reginald. Reginald White, yeah. I believe he was the first African-American model to make the cover of GQ magazine. People, where are the light, bright skins at? You guys have it in your head, or you have this notion that somehow there's light skin privilege. Jason Olive, another brown skin model about Will Smith's complexion, but not light skinned. And that goes to show you people. Now, those were the greatest models of yesteryear. Let's look at the top black models of today, right now, 2020. Here's number 10, Baba Diop. Number 9, Maliko Bowden. Number 8, Abdoulaye Niang. Definitely African. Hamad Anafad, number 7. Ricody Emerald, number 6. Look at their complexions. I do not see a light-skinned one among the bunch. David Abagjuda. Ooh, these names. Nice names, but I just cannot pronounce them. I don't have the accent, nor the proper, pronunciation of it. Adonis Basso, number 4. Alpha Di is number 3. Fernando Cabral is number 2. All dark skinned. And the number 1 male model of today, black male model of today, is Alton Mason. He is number 1. And here's Alton right there. Top black male models. You can go to his site right there. He's called Fresh Pepper. He goes over all these models right here, and he shows you the reels and screens in which they have done. Let's talk about where this misconception got into. This misconception is a misconception among black people, because the mistake that black people tend to make is that they think that others who are not black think the same way they do. They think that others who are not black view blackness or kinky hair or dark eyes the same way that they do. Now, I can tell you from going to 99% white. Imagine Cerritos back in Cerritos, California, back in the 1970s and early 80s. That was like about, I would say, majority at least, let's go 98% white. But Cerritos today, I hear, is mostly Asian. Okay, but back then it was mostly white. And I can tell you, with me being dark-skinned, I was never ridiculed for dark skin by the white students. Any black person would tell you this who have dark brown eyes. How many compliments have you got from white people or others as opposed to blacks? Notice how others other than black people did not talk about your kinky hair or use the term nappy. And this is not to put down black people. I would never do that. I'm just making a point right there that others do see you differently. You're seen much differently by others. So therefore, the same beauty standards that black people have, which is a preference towards lighter skin, is not going to be the same beauty standards that, let's say, Caucasians have or others may have. And I use Caucasian a lot or white people a lot because, let's face it, they're the dominant society here. And a lot of your jobs, like in modeling, like in acting, which are controlled by white people. So therefore, obviously, they are looking at something differently. What's appealing to them is completely different a lot of times than what's appealing to, let's say, a black person. Case in point, a Tyler Perry movie. Unfortunately, many of these great black actors who I went over, who I showed you, they would never make it in a Tyler Perry movie. Tyler Perry tends to favor the light brights, and that's his choice. This is just a side note. This happens to be one of my favorite models. I follow him on Instagram, Nubian Cheetah 268. I just think he has a great look. You can follow him on Instagram, Nubian Cheetah. Let's get that right. 268. He's an up and coming. He's going to be a great model. He already is one. Nice guy too. So people, where is he? Where's he? I just showed you models right then and there, and I just showed you actors right there. I did not see any that looked or resembled this complexion, eye color, nothing. Because people, you are dealing with Caucasian people. Caucasian people, light skin, they have white skin. He has green eyes. Caucasian people are full of blue, green, gray eyes. They say opposites attract. Why would they want something close to them? If they are going to go for something or be attracted by something or be eroticized by something or turned on, they are going to go the exact opposite. They do not want anything that resembles them. There's enough of them there. Now, this is very important. This is extremely important because we cannot talk about this whole attraction thing. And there's a tie-in also. There's a tie-in with adult entertainment as to the fantasies of white men. We heard of a site called Black, supposedly the #1 interracial adult entertainment site that there is. Look at the models right here. Look at the male models. What is the common denominator? Look at their complexions. It's one right here to the left, maybe the lightest one you'll see on there. Keep on thinking, this is a white man's fantasy. Just like rap in the American society, majority of rap is purchased by white suburban youth. Even though this is called black right here, with black actors, blacks are 12% of the US population. Caucasians are like 65%. The #1 consumers of this right here are going to be Caucasian white people. So therefore, the producers, directors are showing you, it may be a unconscious thing, they're showing you what they find attractive. And just because men are in control of this does not necessarily has to be anything about homosexuality. There's a lot of swingers who go to swingers club who swamp their wives out or trade wives with other men and they watch. It's not necessarily a homosexual thing. What I'm showing you right here is that clearly white men who are the dominant power brokers in America, in society, prefer black men who are of darker tones. Light skins are preferred by black people. The power brokers in America prefer dark-skinned men. There is no such thing as light skin privilege when you're out of the black community. Understand that. Here we have more of the actors right there. I don't necessarily see a light skin. Where's the light skin? I see maybe the one to the right is brown, but not light. That's because they're all into this whole BBC thing, which that term originated and started within the gay community, the white gay community, about 6 or 7 years ago. It's not even 10 years old. But if you notice today, heterosexual porn has taken over that term. That's because, what is that? LGBTQ people are like 4% of the population. Just 4%. So obviously the majority of the porn out there is going to be heterosexual porn. And in my research, I just wanted to show you something that's kind of like ironic. And it's very consistent in the mindset of Caucasian people. Because 40 years ago, this actor right here, Johnny Keys, look at his complexion. He was the top rated black porn performer. He was in such classics as Behind the Green Door, A Heavenly Desire, and a slew of other classics. So much that he is actually in the AVN Hall of Fame. This was the top black heterosexual porn performer 40 years ago. And if you clearly see, nothing has really changed that much. Same consistency, really. Then I'm going to show you something else too. On the gay side, this was a top black gay porn performer like 20 years ago. Look at his complexion. Now today, this is the top gay porn performer of today. He goes by the name Raheem Shabazz. He has over 600,000 Twitter followers. This was the top black porn performer 20 years ago. And look at this. This is the second one today. He goes by the name Max Connor, and he has over 428 followers on Twitter. See the complexion right there? The complexion that Caucasians find desirable, stimulating, attractive, for the most part, is not what black people as a whole find attractive. It goes into a darker tone. It goes into a darker type of a look, because that old saying that opposites attract is very true. And they're all into the whole, BBC thing, that whole black male dominant thing. Some might find that offensive, but if you're in porn, what do you expect? You're going to be objectified. Your body parts are going to be objectified. That's pretty much your moneymaker. Yes, I would say that blacks, for the most part, are fetishized. They are fetishized, but at the same time in token too. When people find you attractive, when you're found attractive by people, they do reward you in some strange way. Meaning that most people, regardless of color, do not like to discuss or talk about sex with people who they do not find attractive. Most people would want to befriend people who they find attractive. Most people want to associate with others who they find or deem attractive in some type of a way. If that's going to be given a job, like white people tend to favor dark skins, Tyler Perry tends to favor light skins. People tend to reward what they find attractive. So now what we're going to do, we're going to step into the world of recording and look at the top black recording acts of all time. These are some heavyweights here, some greats. Smokey Robertson is like the only light-skinned one there. Lionel Richie also. Smokey Robertson and Lionel Richie. There goes Lionel Richie. Other than that, Chris Brown, would you consider him light? He can go into the light skins, I guess. Little Richard, no. I met Little Richard many times. He wore a lot of makeup back in the day. But as you can clearly see that the overwhelming majority of these guys here are dark skin to brown skin. This just goes to show you that with the whole entertainment spectrum, whether it be acting, whether it be adult entertainment, whether it be singing, that there is no real preference for light skin. Some of these do not have a picture, but you know who they are. Justin Timberlake, okay. That's a floozy right there. No, he's not black. He sings black music, but anyway, you kind of get the whole idea as to what I'm talking about in regards to that right then and there. So let's move on to another area, because a lot of you guys like to pretend that, well, first of all, before we go there, let's look at this, the world of dance. We're going to cover everything. We're covering the world of dance right now. Top male black ballet dancers. I do not see a light skin there. Now, let's go into the world of business, because many of you have, you got on me the last time by claiming that, well, light skins are preferred in business. We'll see. We'll see. Here is Kenneth C. Frazier. Unfortunately, I believe he passed away last year, but he was one of the few. There goes Kenneth right at the bottom right. Okay, there are just 4 black CEOs of the Fortune 500 companies. Here's how they are addressing the death of George Floyd. This is when George Floyd thing popped off and they addressed it. Maybe Kenneth Floyd passed away either this year or last year, but now there's only 3. But with that being said, look at their complexions. Remember, these are Fortune 500 companies. They are being hired by white executives and businessmen. So what I'm trying to tell you is that the whole light skin, dark skin thing does not really come into play with them. And you know, to be honest with you, this is not to say that light skins are not desirable. If you're light skinned, if you have the ability, and I'm sure that if you could do the job, you have the resume behind you, I'm sure they would have hired you. But the point in which I'm trying to make is that stepping into certain arenas, there is no such thing as light skin privilege. That's the point in which I'm trying to drive home to you. Here goes some more CEOs. Now, he's not a Fortune 500 company, but he's head of integrated managed care. What is his name? Bernard Tyson. Look at that complexion. Here's another one. Another brother right there. Marvin Ellison. Brown tone. But that's a bit of a camera flash right there. Arnold Donald. I would not say he's light. I'm going to say this is the camera flash right then and there. He's definitely not dark neither. I would say a brown tone in the middle. So that's the point right then and there. So, as I stated before, many of you last time were doubting that, well, there are light-skinned men in high positions. I'm sure there are. But understand one thing, there are dark-skinned men and brown skins in high positions also. And when they are being hired by Caucasian people, the light skin is not going to come into effect as an advantage. 2 legends right there. And ironically, and a good thing, we're blessed to still have them. Both are still alive. Harry Belafonte and Sidney Poitier. Here they go right here. I love this picture right here. They were good friends, are good friends. But here we have Hollywood. Hollywood is controlled by white Jewish men. Not a bad thing. I'm just saying, just to let you know how it is. That's the truth. But who do you think was the bigger star in Hollywood? It was the dark-skinned guy. Sidney Poitier won the Oscar. He was the acclaimed actor. Harry Belafonte, a good actor, but Sidney Poitier was the bigger star. Now, if Hollywood was controlled or run by black people, and I hate to say this, but I'm going to be honest with you, I truly believe that Harry Belafonte would have been the bigger star. Because black people practice colorism. White people practice racism. And in the eyes of white people, someone like Harry Belafonte would be just as black as Sidney Poitier. A racist white person would not make a distinction. if you have any type of identification as being black, you will be treated as a nigga. However, to a white person who has an affinity, an infatuation, an attraction, who are eroticized by black people, the darker tones will be much more appealing. Believe it or not. We touched on Mr. Tyson Beckford. So with that, I showed you this, people. So where was someone who looked like him? Where was someone who looked like him? Of all those genres that I showed you that crisscrossed, arts, entertainment, adult entertainment, singing, dancing, you did not see them. There's not that many Drakes, to be honest with you, there. Because, people, this is not appealing to white people the same way that it would be to black people. And let me say this much, people. This is not to say that light skins are not wanted. They are wanted in all areas, but they are not preferred. And for my dark skinned brothers, light skins, you're my brothers too. You're black, you're my brother. My dark skins, do not be dissuaded. Do not lack confidence. Do not be turned off or frightened to seek a career, arts, entertainment, or whatever. Adult thing, if that's your thing, go ahead and go for it. You have dark skin, you're going to be preferred, to be honest with you. But do not be preferred to seek out the career that you want. Do not think or allow your dark skin to hinder you. It is not a hindrance at all. That's only in your mind. As we clearly seen, we did not see too many people of the upper echelons who look like this. They're very popular on Instagram. They're very popular on social media. But is that really a career? I guess it could be. It could be a career. And also, too, I think that this is to help the light skins, too, who may go into these certain areas in life, in an adult life, thinking that somehow your light skin is going to be an advantage, and you see that it's not. And you get crushed by that. You get a very rude awakening. No, in these areas, you got to have talent. It's got to be there. What I'm trying to say is that the light skin is just not going to win you over out of the black community. People, remember him? If this light skin was such an advantage, why isn't he the top male model? Why are the top male models dark skinned? Really, about, what is that, 10 shades darker than him? If this light skin and light colored eyes was such an advantage, why isn't he the top black male model? Because it's not an advantage the way that black people have been brainwashed into believing. Sometimes we are conditioned by older blacks within our community, by society, in thinking that somehow certain type of looks have an advantage when in fact they do not, as you grow into adulthood and as you step into the real world. Within certain communities, communal standards, they will have an advantage. But these advantages a lot of times are just compliments from, primarily when you're younger. But as you start to get older, the compliments kind of fade. And, for women, to be honest with you, we talk about light skin, dark skin. The greatest color for women? The color that women see is green. What's going to override your dark skin is how much money you have in the bank. What does your bank account look like? What type of career you have? And the second thing that overrides light skin, to be honest with you, is going to be height. For a woman, height is more important than skin complexion. We're talking about black women too. I'm talking about black women. Now, I would say that skin tone would be a distant third behind money, behind height, then skin complexion. So with that being said right there, to all the dark skins, your complexion is not a disadvantage at all. Your complexion is very much desired. It is wanted. It is needed. He's a very talented actor, by the way. I can't think of his name. But people like, Tyler Perry only makes up like, what is that? 1% of Hollywood, if that? But the whole 99% is going to be controlled by people who are outside of the community who are not going to have that whole color bias, that whole colorism bias. They may have racism, yeah. Racism is going to get everyone. Light skins, brown skins, dark skin, that's racism. Colorism, no. So therefore, with that, your dark skin will not be a disadvantage. As we see right here, the greatest factor is right there. With that, people, I really believe that I proved my point. There's no need to go on with this right here. I studied it. And for those who may claim, this thing about prison, I looked into that. I researched the whole prison thing about so-called black people who are darker tones receiving harsher prison sentences. Prove that to me. Prove it to me, because I couldn't find it. And it's not that I was willfully blind to it. I couldn't find it. When you make statements like that, be very careful that it's not a divide and conquer tactic. The reason why I say that is because if you read the Willie Lynch letter, there is a divide and conquer tactic. I'm not trying to divide anyone here. I'm not saying that dark skins are better. I'm not saying that light skins are better. I'm not saying neither one is less. I'm simply stating the fact that because I'm sure that there's been so many dark-skinned men who have a lower self-esteem because most of us are raised within the black community because of their dark skin. Just to let them know that, your dark skin in life is not a disadvantage. If you have these aspirations for certain careers, seek them. Get your butt out there and get into them. Now, going back to the prison thing, when I looked into that, I want you to tell me four things basically, when I look at that. First of all, I would like to know, those of you who think that's true, I would like to know 4 things that you must ask yourself before you believe that darker skins receive harsher prison sentences. You must look at the ratio. Was there an equal number of dark skins and light skins represented equally down the middle? Let's say 100, 1,000, 1,000. Secondly of all, I would like to know, was there any prior convictions on either part? Thirdly, I would like to know what type of crime was committed. Fourthly, I want to know exactly what was the complexion. I would need to see the complexion as to make a great observation and ascertain to come to the correct conclusion. So with that has never been brought to me. I've never seen anything like that. I just heard gibberish making claims that, if you're darker skinned, you receive a harsher prison sentence, but no one has really brought any type of proof out. So with that, I'm not going to believe that. I really do not, because once again, when a white person is racist, they do not see a complexion between a Morris Chestnut or a Drake. They do not see a complexion difference at all. Black people do. But to them, you're all the N-word. And with that, people, this was a long video. I normally do not like to do them this long, but I feel like I had to cover all points with this to make my argument very strong. I believe that with that, I proved to you and I showed you that out of the black community, there is no such thing as light skin privilege. Going into other communities, going out of the black community, there may be such a thing called dark skin privilege. And with that was another edition of Seeing Beyond and Through with Monty, and I will see you all beyond and through.